The Tudor Family.
During the reign of the Tudors, the monarch became a very important figure because they served as the head of the Church of England as well as the king. After the War of Roses, Henry VII took over the crown. In 1509 to 1547, Henry VIII was in power. His son Edward VI became the king after his father's death. However, Edward VI died shortly after he became the monarch, and Mary I was the queen. Elizabeth I was last of the Tudors.
This is Henry VIII. He started ruling from 1509 to 1547. When his father died, he took over. He became the king at age 17. His brother Arthur had a wife, but he died much earlier than Henry VIII. His wife, who's now a widow, Catherine of Aragon, was now King Henry VIII's new wife. Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon had one child, and her name was Mary I. Later on, Henry VIII divorced with Catherine and married again with a new wife named Anne Boleyn in 1533. The two then had a child named Elizabeth. She is Elizabeth I. In his lifetime, Henry VIII had a total of 6 wives, and he killed 2 of them. Henry VIII. What a man. Why exactly is Henry VIII such an important figure in the history of England? I really want to know why. In order to have a son, King Henry VIII married 6 different wives and executed 2 of them. They were accused of cheating. Another important thing that Henry VIII did was that he separated the English Church from the Catholic Church during his reign. Have you ever heard of Bloody Mary? You know, that toilet ghost. Yeah, well, the origin of that name is actually from Mary I. Mary I was the daughter of King Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. Mary ruled from 1553 to 1558.
Mary I is Henry VIII's eldest daughter. She tried to make England a Catholic country, and when a lot of people refused, she burned nearly 300 people and imprisoned more, which gave her the nickname Bloody Mary. However, she also visited the poor in disguise and paid attention to the welfare of people, and tried to be a nice monarch. A lot of people view Mary I as a cruel and violent woman. However, you have to consider the fact that Mary was forced to be a servant to her sister Elizabeth I when Henry VIII divorced her mother and was forbidden to see her mother even on deathbed. Elizabeth I is also known as Good Queen Bess. She was born between Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII. During her reign, Protestantism was permanently established, and England flourished under her reign. After Mary I died, Elizabeth became the queen. She is also known as Good Queen Bess, and she was born between Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII. During Mary's reign, Elizabeth was in great danger both as a Protestant and as a potential rival for the throne. She was fluent in many languages such as Latin, Greek, French, and Italian. She also enjoyed art and loved many pieces by William Shakespeare, Ben Jonson, and Christopher Marlowe. She worked to have a good relationship with the Parliament of England, and she softened the religious tensions by treating Catholics with some fairness. She was also a careful statesmanship and a good money manager. She transformed England from an isolated country into world power. She formed the British Navy with Francis Drake and raided Spanish ships and settlements. In a battle between the Spanish Armada and English Sea Dogs, the British won, which also gave them power over the ocean. Even though many people encouraged her to marry, she stayed a virgin all throughout her life.
So to sum up, the Tudor family. It's basically made up of three really important figures. One, which was King Henry VIII, a king who couldn't have enough wives, but then struggled for power at the same time. Then there were two powerful queens, Elizabeth I and Mary I. Both queens had an insane amount of power. They did some really good deeds, but also some really bad deeds.